Most players don't realize it, but their forehand swing might actually be backwards. Here's what I mean. Instead of the racket tip tracing a smooth C shape like the pros do, it's moving in reverse from low around to high. And that one little reversal makes everything harder. It tightens up your swing, it makes power a grind, it kills your topspin, and it forces you to muscle every ball instead of letting the racket flow. This student came in with that exact problem, and in just 20 minutes, we completely flipped her swing into the proper path. And in this special lesson, I'll show you how you can do the same thing so you can dramatically upgrade your own forehand. Let me show you exactly what we're talking about here. I'm about to play through several professional players, and I want you to keep your eyes on the very tip of the racket. And what you're gonna see is the tip is gonna start high, drop down below the point of contact, and then when the body starts turning forwards, that's gonna slingshot that momentum that's being built as the racket falls towards the earth and come from below the point of contact and through the ball. So watch as I play through a couple different players here. By the way, very different play styles, different forehand styles, different generations of player, different age of player, but for all of these different professional players, the tip of the racket is starting up and then smoothly dropping down below the point of contact and then pulling the racket up and around in a circular path. And this smooth flow of energy helps these players generate huge amounts of power and spin with relatively little effort. Obviously, their intensity in match play is incredibly high, but their efficiency is also incredibly high, which is what allows them to generate such massive forehands. So now contrast that with the tip of the racket of my student. Watch closely. This is her before we did any drills or training together, and watch how this is so deceptive because she's making a circle. But that circle is exactly the reverse of what all those professional players were doing. She's starting from her ready position, first dropping the racket down, and then looping it around from low up to high, but in the reverse direction. And this might seem like a small deal, but there's a reason why all of those different styles and generations of professional players all go in the reverse direction. I promise you, it's smoother, more efficient, and feels more fluid when you flip this, start with the racket up, utilize gravity to help you build momentum so that you don't have to come back around from the bottom of your swing and try to muscle your arm through the point of contact to generate power and spin. We fixed this in literally 20 minutes, and before I get to the drills here in just a sec, I want to be very careful and tell you this is a pretty widespread problem. You might be saying to yourself, laughing to yourself like, oh yeah, duh. I know I'm supposed to like this, the whole like C swing path is one of like the oldest like tricks in the book ever. Please listen carefully. My student genuinely thought by doing this reverse C that she was creating a proper C and copying like what all the players are doing on TV. She had no idea that she had flipped it, and I've seen this quite a few times recently with students. Students that have taken a lot of lessons and been playing tennis for a long time. So here's drill number 1 that we did together. Simply on the service line, smoothly, slowly shadowing, flipping her direction of her loop and making it start from the top, drop down, and then come back up again. In drill number 2, I had my student do a couple shadow swings, and then I started tossing to her underhand. And immediately, I want you to look at the difference in flow and smoothness in these swings. What I noticed from my side of the court as I was tossing her balls was 2 things. Number 1, I immediately started hearing a more distinct click sound of the strings moving due to topspin. I'm a really strong believer that if you allow the racket to work with gravity and start up and then drop down, you have a much better chance of the racket getting below the point of contact. Here's where she's meeting the ball right here. And now that we've reversed her C, the racket is dropping way below the point of contact, and compared to her old swing, she's making a much steeper ascent up towards contact. Without talking about it, without her like trying to make more topspin, this was a natural byproduct. We had no conversation about it. I wasn't encouraging her to drop her racket any lower. It was just happening. There's certain biomechanical elements and there's certain physics elements that when you go with a particular flow in a particular direction, lots of other dominoes fall in the correct direction. And this is just one of those things. The second thing I noticed in line with the additional click was she was creating much more shape immediately out of the box. And her comment to me was things felt much smoother and more flowing. That's what you should be feeling for. If your forehand currently feels rigid and tight, it's very possible that you've reversed your C and you're not flowing in the right direction. The third drill we did together was I just pushed her back into no man's land and we did a combination of shadow swings and hits once again. And now that there's this extra distance, she has a little bit more freedom to kind of calmly allow her racket to swing a little bit more freely. And this is where she really started to feel the benefit of connecting in the right direction and allowing gravity to work for her instead of against her. The phrase that she kept using to me to describe her old forehand was that it felt like a windmill swing, meaning it felt like she was arming through it and muscling through it. And this new swing to her felt much more effortless, much smoother, and much more powerful without the muscling windmill feeling that she was doing before. Now in our fourth training progression, she's all the way back on the baseline and she's now receiving the exact same pace, the exact same depth and frequency from the ball machine that she did in her original swings. And so I want you to watch how much more smooth and flowing these swings look compared to her original ones. Editors, please put up a couple of her original swing to show the before and then show these smoother ones. So same challenge of shot, but now she's creating more curve, she's creating more spin, and most importantly, she's creating more power and more spin with less effort, and that's what you should be feeling at home as well. So strongly encourage you, record your forehand. Even though there might not be any new information for you in this lesson that you just watched, this student genuinely thought she was tracing the proper motion and doing it just like all the professional players, when in fact it was exactly reversed. So if you feel like your forehand is getting muscled, check yourself, see the path that your racket is actually tracing, and then use these simple progressions to upgrade your power and your spin. Let me know what was the most helpful for you in this lesson down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson.